Hey, this is your old Aunt Tina again. Today I'm going to talk about immigrants. A lot of talk about immigrants these days, how they should go back to where they came from, etc., etc. Well, if your skin is white, you're an immigrant. You're an immigrant. If your skin is white, you're an immigrant. In fact, if you're any human being in North America, South America, you're an immigrant from somewhere else. But for some reason, we block that in our heads. Think everybody who's different from us is somehow worse, evil, lazy, all kinds of things that people say about those people over there. Those people over there, the other ones. Oh, for heaven's sake. Do we never learn? Listen, I'm going to talk about an immigrant that I am well acquainted with. I'm going to talk today about my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. Her name was Antoinette Sovinsky Karshevsky. Sovinsky was her maiden name. Karshevsky was her married name, which was ultimately shortened to Karch, K-E-R-C-H, for reasons that they didn't want to have a Polish name. That was the bottom line. Didn't want to have a Polish name because at the time the Polish people were being persecuted, blah blah blah, the whole thing all over again. For Christ's sake, can't we learn? Okay, so I'm gonna show you some pictures here. I'm gonna show you some pictures. This is a picture of my grandmother, Antoinette Sovinsky. This was when she came to the United States. She came over on the boat. And when I say the boat, I mean the boat. Ooh. She came over in 1903 at the age of 16. Now, I never told her this because I didn't know about it when she was alive. I only learned about it after the fact. She immigrated to the United States from southern Poland. If you look on a map, she crossed Poland, the whole country of Poland. She went through Germany, crossed through Germany, and I don't know how she did that. I don't know if she, took a train or, walked or took a horse-drawn carriage. I mean, I don't know how she did that. That would be interesting to know, but I don't know. So, in 1903, 1902, she was 15, and she decided she was going to immigrate to the United States, where her older brother and older sister had already immigrated, and they were writing letters back and forth encouraging her to come to the United States. And she decided that that's what she was going to do. And so, like I said, at the age of 15, she crossed Poland and Germany, and in Germany she went to a school that taught, she became a seamstress, making clothes for men and women. And that's the way clothing was made in those days. You went to a person, you got the material, they put it together, boom, that's where you got your clothing from. You don't buy it at Kmart like you do now, which is mostly just crap clothing anyway, but that's another topic. So she goes to Germany, goes to school to learn to be a seamstress, gets on the boat to come to the United States, crosses the ocean. Now, 1903, just for a reference, is 10 years earlier than the Titanic disaster. So just to put in your mind the time frame, she was here before the Titanic. So she came over in one of those little teeny boats across the ocean. Ooh, boy, Graham, you got more guts than I do. And she came by herself at the age of 16. Because she had this thing in her head that the United States was the best country in the world, that she would be treated fairly in the United States, more so than in Europe. Europe before World War I was a mess. And that's what she was leaving. All those conflicts here, there, and everywhere. And every time there was a war, whether it was Russia at war with somebody, with Germany, or Germany at war with Italy, or Germany at war with whoever, whatever, or France at war with Russia, whatever the situation was, all those troops came right across Poland. Always went right across Poland. Now, it wasn't necessarily Poland all the time. I need to do some history. I've seen that, it's part of the Austro-Hungarian thingy. But she came over on the boat. Interesting story, talking about being prejudiced against some people. My grandmother did not like Italians. Did not like Italians at all. Why? Because when she was coming over on the boat and was the age of 16, she had red hair. Now, it was not Irish red. It was Central European red, which is, like mine. It's kind of auburn reddish, but hers had more red. Mine used to have more red, and now that I'm old, it's all gone. But she had a lot of red in her hair, and she always, put it up. Probably just easier to control that way, But she's on board ship, and she told me one time, when I came over on board the ship, the Italian boys would stand around me, she said, stand around me, and they would pretend to warm their hands on my red hair, and they were just, all the time, just constantly teasing her about having red hair. Ooh, warming her hands on the red hair. Red hair, oh yes, warming our hands on the red hair. Of course, most Italians got dark hair, so seeing red hair was probably something unusual to them. I don't know. So she's telling me the story. Oh, and they just always surrounded me and had to try to, warm their hands on my hair. And then she leaned into me, and she said, and you know how boys are. So what I gathered from that was that they may have copped a feel, whatever. That's what happened. And that one little thing impressed her so much that she hated Italians ever after that. Didn't like Italians. She thought all Italians were the same as those boys. Well, I know that they aren't. But she couldn't get it anywhere past her head that not every Italian is like that. If you said you were Italian, she didn't like you, automatically. So what is it in our heads that makes us divide people like that, All Italians to her were just molesting boys. So, be careful how you treat people out there, for heaven's sake. This was a lifelong impression with this woman. She lived to be 80-something, 81 or 2 or 3 or something like that. It was a lifelong impression. So we need to think about what we're doing. And you guys out there, stop copping feels without an okay. I can totally understand how she felt, And here is a picture of my grandmother. Now, after she got here, she did a lot of different things. She was a seamstress for a long time. She was a dressmaker for a rich lady for a long time. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And then after that ended, she got married and, of course, went on to be a housewife. And Hubs took care of her. So, and that's the way people lived in those days, you know. But then after he died, and he died fairly young, I think he was in his early 50s, she went together with her oldest son, my uncle, and they had a dry cleaning store. And so she worked in the dry cleaning store as well as did repairs on people's clothing if she saw that something was torn or needed mending. She would do it. She would do it. And so here she is in the dry cleaner's store with all the clothes. She's measuring. Oh, some guy came in and said he needed his pants shortened. She'd do it for him, you know. And there she is working. Yep. I see where I get my this. Can you see that? I see where I get my cheeks. Yeah, and everything else too. Proud of you, Graham. So proud of you. I wish I'd told you that. I wish I'd told her that. But you're young and you're stupid and you're going on with your own life and you don't even think about, you know, talking to your grandparents or anything like that. So that's why I'm doing these videos, kind of, so that people want to watch. They can watch, you know, listen about my life, stories about my life, stories about my husband's life. That's what I would like to do. But anyway, still back to Graham's. So she comes to the United States on the boat, and guess who is standing there in the harbor? The Statue of Liberty. And guess what? The Statue of Liberty is 16 years old, just like my grandma. I found that out doing some history, because the Statue of Liberty is one of my favorite emblems of the United States, although we're really falling short, I'm telling you. But yeah, she came in and saw the Statue of Liberty. They were both 16 years old. She went through Ellis Island, although I understand, I just read the other day, Ellis Island was nothing like what it is today. It was a place you go, you stop, maybe you get a shower or whatever they were doing there. I can't remember. And you signed in and said yes, and then off you went. Now you go and you have to talk to people and you got to explain everything and tell who you are and where you come from, blah, 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 blah. And she didn't really go through that particular situation. She just went to Ellis Island to rest for a bit, and then I don't know how she got to Chicago. I don't know if she got on a train. I don't know if she, you know, I don't know how she got there. I really don't. Probably train would be my guess. And she went to Chicago, where her older brother and older sister already had a place to live, were waiting for her, and that's where she went. And I see my time is about up here, so I'm going to start a second one.